Friendly Neighborhood Gamer here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be going over a really powerful health regen build. Also, I'm really excited for the Elden Ring DLC. Hopefully you are too, and hopefully we get to see it soon, if not by the end of the year. And also on top of that, we're going to be getting a Bloodborne remastered, which is going to be awesome as well, and I am super excited for that as well. Now, with that exciting news out of the way, let's get right into the video. So I'll show you here what this build is capable of. It does some pretty nice damage, plus it heals you in the process while you're doing the damage. And it has really good damage against bosses and just random enemies in general. I feel like we don't see a ton of these health regen builds, especially in the past games in the Dark Souls series. You don't see much of them, and they were kind of irrelevant in the past games. It kind of worked, but not really. I'll show you what I'm using here in just a second, but this build is really awesome because you can switch many different things in and out to make this build work and make it really OP. So one of the main weapons for this build is going to be the Heavy Greatstar with the Prelate's Charge Ash of War. This gives you a 1% healing regen every time you hit an enemy with this weapon. Then we have the Blasphemous Blade, which heals 4% of max HP plus 40 flat HP on every enemy death. And you can throw the Icon Shield in there if you want for plus 3 HP every second as well. And for the armor, we're going to be using the Royal Remain set, which will grant you plus 8 HP for all the armor pieces equipped. First talisman we'll be using is the Old Lord's Talisman, which will extend the effects of spell duration. And then also you can switch it out with the Shard of Alexander if you want extra damage. The second talisman that we will be using is going to be the Taker's Cameo, which regenerates HP when defeating enemies. Third is going to be the Godskin Swaddling Cloth, which grants HP for successive attacks, and the Blessed Dew Talisman for slowly restoring HP. Here's my Wondrous Physics, which Green Spill Crystal Tear will temporarily raise max stamina, and then Crimson Spill Crystal Tear will also temporarily raise max health. So with that, we're going to be using some incantations. We're going to be using the Blood Flame Blade, and then with that as well, we're going to be using Flame Grant Me Strength, and then also on top of that, the Golden Vow. Now you can use some other incantations with this as well, such as some of the Erd Tree Healing incantations, but that's totally up to you. Here is also some of the minimum stats that you will need to run this build as well in order to make it work. And then also another weapon that you can throw in there as well if you want is the Serpent God's Curved Sword, which also gives you health regen. So let me show you how everything kind of works together. I'm going to be primarily using the Heavy Greatstars as my primary, and then switching to the Blasphemous Blade when needed and applying my incantations before I usually go into battle. It's not necessary, but I just like the extra damage that it gives. So I'll go over and let this guy hit me a few times just to show you the regen effect. It's really nice, especially when you're in the middle of combat, to get all this health back, especially when you're in a boss fight. So I'll usually use the Heavy Stars just to get up and close so I can stun lock certain enemies, especially when it comes to the bigger ones, while getting my health back doing the Ash of War. Now, if I need to go back and get some distance between me and the enemy, that's when I'll switch to the Blasphemous Blade and use its Ash of War to get a nice amount of health back while staying far away from the enemy. Now, what's nice about this is you don't have to really rely on your flasks as much. Other than your FP, you will have to refill that, but you can combine this build with an FP build as well, where your FP is constantly regenerating. And also with this build as well, when you're fighting bosses, I usually switch to the Bull Goat armor so that I get a little more damage resistance when I'm doing that, just because it helps quite a bit. So the armor that I'm wearing currently, it doesn't make a huge difference when you're fighting a boss, so I would definitely recommend switching to a higher strength armor. But when you're just fighting mobs of enemies or common enemies, then it is great and it works very well. But anyways, guys, let me know if you guys have any questions and if there's anything I can help with on this build. It's quite a fun build, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it, swapping out different weapons and different armor sets, along with different incantations. Now, I'll leave you here. If you guys have any questions, the rest of this is just gameplay. Please let me know down in the comments, like I said before. And thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you guys next time. Hit the damn subscribe button already.